Saxon Algebra 2, greetings my students. Welcome to the winter midterm review. The winter midterm review, that's what I was trying to say. Let's make a list of lessons to study and things to remember so that you know exactly what to do when you're trying to study this week. All right, lesson description. I am only going to write down the lessons and topics that I'm likely to test you on. I'm not going to write down things that I'm not going to test you on. That seemed like a waste of time, doesn't it? 96 is our most recent lesson. And so I start there and I work backwards, right? 96 has two topics. The first one is joint and combined variations. Yes. This is where we are mixing together maybe a direct and an inverse variation, right? And there are two ways that we can do this. I just covered this in the notes, so let me just find it and show you what I'm talking about. Remember this list? Make sure you know this, right? We have direct and we have inverse variations, and we have two methods to find them. What I call the constant method, and John calls it a variation. I mean, they're all variations. I don't know why he says that. And then what I call the proportion, and John calls the ratio. Call them what you will. Just make sure you know these four formulas, because you're going to need to write them down if I give you a test problem on lesson 96, okay? So there it is. Screenshot that dog. Okay, 96 has another topic that is irrational roots of nonlinear systems. That's my name, not John's. And that's where we were getting we were solving a system of nonlinear equations and they were just some really whack answers. That, yes, we will probably have. There are several topics that are going to fit into this general category of nonlinear systems, like 95, which is called more nonlinear systems. Am I likely to have two separate problems? No, but it could be either one of those. 94, functions. There's a lot of information in this lesson. What I would be likely to do, I'm not going to ask you about the function tests so much, which is the part A and B. I would have you do a problem like example 94.3, okay? Where John's saying if h of x is this and p of x is that, find the p of minus 3. And you have to know, oh, well, it's the p function, so I take that one, I ignore that, I plug minus 3 in wherever there's an x and I solve. That's what I would test you on. I'm not going to test you on the circles and the pairs and all of that. 93, the discriminant. Remember that the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. You have to arrange your equation into proper standard note form, and then you take the a, b, and c and you fill it in, and you remember that if the discriminant equals 0, then you have one real solution to the quadratic. If it's greater, that should be equal. If it's greater than 0, then you have two real solutions. And if the value of the discriminant is less than 0, excuse me, losing my voice, and that looks almost like a B, but it's a 0. If it's less than 0, then you have two complex roots That's the main part I care about. But a lot of you have had it stick in your brain that are conjugates. The fact that they're conjugates is not the important part. The important part is that it's one real, two real, two real. That is what I care about. All right, that's 93. 92, boat in the river. Oh, heck yes. Make sure you know both of these equations. Let's see, we've got the boat plus the water times the time downstream equals the distance downstream. And then we have the boat minus the water times the time upstream equals the distance upstream. These are our two boat in the river equations. Make sure you know those. Make sure that you show me them separately. Don't just start filling in numbers. I want to see it written just like this on your page, or subtract 1 right from the get-go. I'm being really hard about equations this time because I want you to do it automatically and naturally. I want to send you off to college knowing exactly how this works. Lesson 91. Systems of linear inequalities. This is when you color the shaded areas on the graph and find out where they overlap. I think these are fun and not too hard. They're, oh, you know what they are. I don't have to show you. But they're the ones where you shade the regions. I like those. 90, systems of 3 equations. Ooh. Yes, I love them. Okay, those are straightforward. Remember to show the answer as an ordered triple, like 1, 2, 3 with the parentheses, right? Please show me that form. Okay, what else have we got? This lovely bag of tricks of mine. 89 is 2 topics. Well, it's 3, but I'm going to call it 2. 89 is conjunctions and disjunctions, where you graph just on a number line. I consider those easy problems. You have to be careful about the domain, right? Integers are dots. Right, on a number line like that. Real numbers mean a circle and a go, right? If it's greater than or less than, then we leave an open circle. If it's greater than and equal to or less than and equal to, then we color it in, right? And that is only for real numbers, right? Only for reals, because with integers, it's either a dot or it's not. That's all there is to it. The other part of lesson 89, let me just count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, look, we're already filling up our dance card, if you will. 89, the other one is products of chords and secants. And that's where we remember that you multiply the outside. It looks like this. Oh my gosh, pretend that's a circle. You multiply the outside part times the total, and that would be equal to this outside part times this total. That's a possibility, but let me just check my list really fast. 89, yeah, we did a review problem on that, so it's less likely that I would test you again. 88, the distance formula. Using the distance formula to find the distance between 2 points, yes. And you need to know the distance formula, which is this. This is the form I want you to memorize. It has multiple forms, but this is the one that I'd like you to memorize. 88 has a second topic, which is, I'm just going to write it down, PV equals nRT. Those are those physicsy chemistry problems where, they're chemistry, where these 5 letters stand for different things: pressure, volume, number of moles. R is a constant that I would always give to you. T equals temperature. And the way it works is that I would give you 4 of the 5 and ask you to solve. And in these, remember, you rearrange the letters first, right? So that because once you plug in numbers, you don't want to be doing a bunch of algebra. So if I told you to solve for temperature, for example, you divide both sides by n times r so that T was by itself. We did that in the lesson, so that's not new, I'm just reminding you. And let's see, 87 is slope formula. Oh, see, this is what happens, you guys. I get like emotionally attached to all of these topics, and I just want a problem on all of them because they're so fun. The slope formula is this. See how it looks so much like the distance formula? You need to memorize that and be able to use it. All right, I think that's enough. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough studying. Okay, so that's topic 1. What am I supposed to study? Topic number 2, how, pray tell, teacher, would you like me to study? So let's talk about that, because I have some specific guidelines. The first thing I want to remind you is that when you take a test, any test, not just a math test, you need to make sure you understand from your teacher what you're going to be expected to do on the test. And then in your preparations, you need to do exactly what you're going to be doing on the test, right? So when Formula One race drivers are preparing for the Indy 500, they do not get in their Volvos and drive around the QFC parking lot to practice. No, you have to practice by doing exactly what you're going to be doing in the real event. So sadly, we are not going to be driving Formula One race cars, though I would kill for a chance to do that. What we're going to be doing instead is problems. So you need to actually do problems. And I do know of students, and I don't shame them for this, but I know of students who have thought that it's okay to study just by opening up the book to these lessons that I've outlined and just looking through and going, oh yeah, I know how to do that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I know how to do that. I think I did that a few times because nobody ever told me that in studying you have to do what you're actually going to do on the test so that you're preparing. So I want you to do problems. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to work all the examples for all the lessons on our list. Now, that's not too bad because there's what? There's not even 15, and say there's like 2. So say there's an average of 2 examples per topic. That just means that you're doing like 2 nights worth of homework, right? Because it's 30 problems, right? 15, it's less than 15, but let's just say 15. 15 problems is how many problems you do on the average lesson for homework. So it's just 2 nights of lesson if you do them that way. And you can do them in a different order. So it's not extra work, but I want you to do that. Remember that the reason why I want you to do that is because in the examples, John not only gives you some really lovely problems, but he provides the answer right underneath. So what I want you to do is cover up the answer, work the problem. Then, not only do you have the answer right there, which he always does in like a boldface, like here, but he explains it with words so that if you are confused or get the wrong answer, you have the best explanation of how to do it correctly, all right? So do like that, cover it up. Notice I use my handy dandy checklist. It makes a great tool for this purpose. If you work those problems and you're still confused, Message me. Please do not wait for the test and just hope that your brain suddenly grows new cells and you understand something that you don't understand when you're studying. Please don't wait. I'm happy to help you now, and I'd rather help you before the test than while the test is happening or after the test and you're depressed because you didn't get the score you wanted. Please message me right away. I do not recommend email. I don't get email notifications sent to my phone for reasons that have to do with my sanity. Message me, hit me up on Messenger. I'm on WhatsApp. However you want to do it, but send me a more, for me, direct line of contact, right? But don't wait. Tell me sooner rather than later so that I can help you through it, all right? If you finish all those examples and you say, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, but I just want to do a little bit more, then I recommend that you work practice problems. Right? The lettered problems at the front of each lesson, and I'll tell you why. Practice problems are good because you can quickly match a lesson to a problem that goes with it, right? They're right there at the top of the problem set. You don't have to dig through the problem set and try to figure out which ones are on the lesson that you're trying to learn better. So they're easier to find. And I will tell you this, I often use a lot of the quote unquote even lettered practice problems on the test, like a B or a D. I often use those on the test. So it has happened before that students who have studied diligently and worked some of those even lettered practice problems, I'm making air quotes with my fingers as I say that, but you can't see, but just trust me, it's happening. They will get the test and be like, oh, I just did this problem. I just studied this. To which I say, yay. People who study diligently often reap unexpected rewards. So I am 100% fine with that. Okay, so go ahead and work practice problems if you want more. And then this kind of ties into my second to last tip. And it's kind of complicated, but let me write it and then I'll explain it. It's a really good idea to study, not in a panic, but just to refresh your mind in the last day before a test. As an alternative to that, what if you sat down on Monday and did all your studying for the test and then waited until Wednesday evening to sit down and actually take it? It's now been 2.5 days possibly since you did all of that rigorous studying, and your brain is just not going to have held on to it as well because it's been a while, right? So what I want you to do is work out the timing so that you study within the 24 hours of when you actually want to take the test. Now, because I'm giving you a wide window to take the test, that means you kind of have to figure this out by yourself, right? If everyone was taking the test at exactly the same time, I'd say make sure you study, Tuesday night so that Wednesday morning you'll be fresh. But I don't know exactly when you'll be taking it. You're going to get the test around noon on Wednesday. And you're going to have until more than, but let's just say noon on Thursday. So that's a 24-hour window. That means you have to figure out what's the right time for you, right? To get that last study session in. Not as a panicked, like cramming session, but just as, okay, I'm going to look at this one more time. You can do most of your studying a couple days earlier, but sit down for at least a half hour within 24 hours of planning to take the test and just go through some of your trickier spots, review your formulas, just refresh your mind within 24 hours so that you'll be peak smart. And the last thing that I want to do, the last thing I want to encourage you to do has to do with your emotional mindset. Now, some students sit down with a math test and they go into some like weird, calm, overdrive almost, where they just get into a really quiet zone and feel calm and comfortable and can just sit down and work without any anxiety or concern. That is fabulous. If you are one of those people, pat yourself on the back right this minute and say, and thank God for how lucky you are for having that temperament. Other people just get a little anxious and uptight, and math in particular can really kind of crank some people's anxieties. If you are one of those people, it's okay. We can get you through this because I don't want you to be anxious during your test. I want you to be calm so you can show me what you can know. But it just means you have to do a little bit of extra work to make sure that you get yourself into a calm place. So if you are one of those people that gets a little stressed, consider doing things like this. Make sure you get good sleep. Make sure you get good food. Make sure you get good water. Calm yourself. Oh no. Plan the test at a time that works best for you. Again, you have a 24-hour span to slide this test into your life. So be strategic about that. And, you know, your mom may have advice as to when you should take the test, and your dad may have advice, and your grandma, and your dog, and maybe even your siblings. And it's fine to listen to what other people think. But here's the thing, you guys. Nobody knows how it feels inside your brain but you. So you really have to trust yourself and think about this critically. The other thing I would point out to you guys is that because of your ages, your brains are all going crazy with growth. Okay, so what felt good to you, maybe even last year at Christmas, 2020 is what I mean, when you took the midterm, your brain might not feel good at that time anymore. Only you know for sure. So listen to the advice that other people give you or the advice you've taken in the past. Consider that, but evaluate on your own when you think is the best time for you to take this test, okay? And then do it then, right? The other thing that I want you to do is, if you are a person who struggles with a little anxiety, think of what you can do to calm yourself. Play some music, paint a picture. Going outside, honestly, is the best thing I think you can do to clear your mind. Take your dog for a walk. Go wander around the yard. You know, walk to the neighbor's house. I don't know. Just go outside and do something if you think that would help. If you're not sure how to get your stress under control, Google how to control test anxiety and see what you can find. So I'm going to write this. Make a plan to control test anxiety. And I use that phrase, I know it sounds a little like intense, but that's highly Googleable. And those words should get you to some good lists of tips and ways to calm yourself. You know, slow breathing, open a window in your room, you know, sit in the kind of environment that you want to. Some people like to concentrate in quiet space. Other people find that very unhelpful and would much rather be in a room where there's like some stimulation going on. So again, it's your brain, it's your mind, you figure it out. Just know that I support 100% anything you come up with. My brain does not like to do things in the ways that I was taught it was supposed to, right? I'm not going to sit down at 9 o'clock in the morning and take this test. I'll tell you that right now. But it's your brain, so you decide. I just want you to think about it and make a plan to really focus in so that you will be at your best when you take this test. All right. Now I'm done talking. I will be dropping the test and texting you to let you know, or your mom, whatever's easier. I'll just let you know one way or another. And you can message me at any time to ask questions. That's all. Thank you. Goodbye.